Come blue and white and we're looking good. You'll be in for a fight and we fight pretty good. Getting goals is our job and we get goals good. Looking good, we are Carlisle United.
Carlisle United, the team that's on the ball. Carlisle United, the team for one and all. You're looking good and we're with you all the way. You'll hear us singing every time you play.
Hello everyone and welcome to Brunton Bugle. This is one of our special episodes and it's the first one actually where we're going to speak to one of the current playing staff in an interview. As you've probably clicked on this already and you've downloaded the file, you'll know that the interview is of course with George Tanner, United's right back, signed in the summer after he was released from Manchester United. I've got to say George comes across really well in this. He's a really good lad and really enthusiastic about his time with the club. He seems to be really enjoying it and he's got ambitions to do as well as he can in his career, but most of all he wants to succeed with Carlisle United to start off. So me and Dan sat down for a chat with him one afternoon a couple of weeks ago and it was really enjoyable and I think me and Dan both enjoyed this. Big thanks to the club for helping us sort this one out. Got to say, if you listen to the very end, there are a few thanks that we do drop in there, so please do give that a listen. It's well worth doing. So without any further ado, I'll hand you back over to me and Dan as we sit down and talk with George about his career so far and obviously his time with United. Enjoy. Okay, so this is the first of our player interviews that we're going to be doing, hopefully a few more over the next year or so. We're just going to try and get them sorted with the club. And first up, we've got one of the summer signings, George Tanner. George, thanks for joining us. Really do appreciate giving up your time.
Yeah, hello. Thank you.
First up, just got to ask you, we'll talk basically about the injury. I mean, it's a bit frustrating being out at this time of the year, isn't it, when there have been so many games. Obviously, there's been that period where the players haven't been playing, but for you, especially with you hitting your stride really well, it must be really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it was a freak injury. It happened about 8 weeks ago now, but I've sort of done really well not to miss so many games. I think I've only missed 5 games in about 8 weeks. So with all the games being cancelled, I've sort of been blessed, but I've sort of made sure I've done all my recovery right. So hopefully not too long before I'm back playing, really.
Well, hopefully we're not going to have too many more games called off as well, so you can get plenty of games in before the end of the season.
It's going to be. I'm just going to say it's going to be one hell of a run-in because I think we're Tuesday, Saturday every week pretty much now with these last couple.
I think it's 8 weeks in a row, isn't it? I think we worked it out, something like that.
Something like that. I know it's strange because if I got injured now and I did the same injury, I'd looking at probably 15 games I'd be missing. So really, I've been quite lucky to only miss 5. With all them being cancelled, so it's been quite good for me.
Yeah. Let's go back to your early days then, George. Let's go back to the very start. Did you always want to be a footballer? It's a cliche question to ask in these sort of interviews, but is one of those things growing up? Did you always want to be a footballer?
Yeah, I think so. I think every sort of young lad wants to be a footballer, but I think I just sort of fell into it. Okay, yeah, so I started off at Living Juniors, obviously Sunday League team, local team, and I got picked up from United at about the age of 8, so I sort of just fell into it straight away, and then football's always been the priority, and everyone wants to be a professional footballer.
I suppose as well, getting picked up that early by Man United as well, it sort of sets you down sort of a path, doesn't it, really? And so, you hear some players who don't get picked up to like 12, 13, 14, but to get picked up at the age of 8, that young by Man United, must have been quite a dream.
Yeah, it was a dream, quite surreal at the time. It sort of came out of nowhere, but I mean, it's a big ask for young lads to when they do jump into academy football. I mean, like I was going to training 4 times a week from the age of 7, like travelling up to Manchester. So 4 times a week on like a 8-year-old for the next sort of 12 years it was. So, I mean, it was a big ask, really.
It's quite a commitment as well, isn't it? Especially at that age, obviously, you're getting parents and friends to sort of drive you up, etc. But when a lot of people won't understand, but when you first go to an academy, what is it like? Do they just put you in straight away, or do they introduce you to people, or?
Yeah, you just get sort of thrown in. I mean, I was in the development centres at about 6 or 7, and then you sort of go to the Cliff training ground. We sort of, all the best players got sent there, and then they choose from there, and then you sign at under 9s, and then at under 9s you've just got a squad of about 20 lads, and then from that point on it's like 4 times a week for the next few years. And yeah, like you said, it's a big ask on your family and stuff. I was luckily enough, I had a supportive family, so I was able to get to training every day and, never miss a training session, really.
Obviously, when we were doing a little bit of research, not a lot of people know, but you actually started out as a striker or a winger, according to... And it wasn't until you were sort of in the proper youth team at United that going back to fullback was sort of suggested. How did that come about?
Yeah, as you said, I played right wing throughout my whole academy experience up until I think I was about 17. We was on a pre-season tour in Holland, I think it was, and we had a game against Barcelona, and I think our right back got injured or something. Anyway, like Nicky Butt put me on at right back, and I played really well. So then, since that game, that was sort of my way into the team. So I sort of just stuck to it, and I managed to just, improve from there really, and I made that my position. And doing so, it meant that I was able to play like loads more games in the youth team, because United always sign these foreign players that are like very talented forwards. So if I was to stay a right winger striker, then it would have been very difficult for me.
I suppose as well, when someone like Nicky Butt with his sort of level of expertise, when someone like him asks you to do it, you jump to it, don't you? Because that's someone who's been there and done it, and if he maybe sees something, you think, well, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, well, I think I must have just made an impression that first game or two when I played right back, and everyone just thought, oh wow, he could actually be a good right back here. So I think that's just the way it happened, really.
Yeah, and I was also looking. Obviously, when you were in the youth team at Man United, you a lot of people don't realise, but Premier League youth teams playing sort of like UEFA Youth League. And
yeah.
It was. I was quite surprised at some of the teams that you end up playing against. I mean, I'm just pulling my list up here. There was, games against like Benfica, Basel, Juventus, Valencia. These are top level teams. That must be quite a buzz for young lads coming into football. Travelling away.
That competition is honestly amazing. Like, you're in the youth team, you're about 17, 18, 19. I think it's under 19s, that competition.
Yeah.
But what people don't realise is you travel with the first team, so if you've not been involved with the first team before, you copy their fixtures. So whoever they're playing in the Champions League or whatever, you play them as well.
Right, yeah.
So everyone goes on the same plane together, you're travelling with the first team. It's like, it makes you feel like, you're with them kind of thing.
I mean, and especially at that sort of age when, you're starting to make the step up and hoping to get contract. Yeah. It must be a buzz. It really must.
It's such a buzz. Yeah. We played Benfica at our place at Lee Sports Village, and I was playing against João Felix, who's now got bought for 100 million.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it is mental. You play against these top players. So yeah, it's been a great experience playing in things like that at Man United, because you won't get that anywhere else really.
What's it like being at a Premier League academy then, George? Because I mean, you often hear some of the lot older pros these days sort of bemoan the academies, don't they? They say, oh, these young players, they've got it easy. It's not like back in my day. But I mean, I'm surely it's not as pampered as they make it out to be. Surely.
Nah, I don't think it is. It's the difference between being at like a big club like that when you're a young lad. There's quite a lot of pressure on you to do well. But throughout my youth team and that, we all worked like very hard. We had Kieran McKenna as our youth coach, who's now the first team coach at Man United, like the assistant with Solskjaer, and he's like a top coach. So every day he would have us in doing like double, triple sessions, and training was like really intense. You know, it's not just a jolly up. Yeah, it's nice because you're at an amazing training ground, and you know you get all lovely food and all that. But you know we still work very hard.
Who were some of your teammates back then when you were in the youth team? Any of the players who are doing quite well now?
So the main one's Mason Greenwood. He's just gone on to do great things, and I think he will over his career. But he's always been a standout player.
Greenwood's impact when he first went into the team was exceptional, wasn't it? And there's just something stands out about him, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean he's always been a top player. So ever since like under-8s, he trained with us, and I'm 2 years older than Mason, so he's always played 2 years up, even when he's a young kid. And that's obviously tough on you because at some point lads start growing more than others, but he was always able to keep up, just because he's so talented, and he's honestly the best finisher that I've ever seen. So I always knew that he'd go on to do good things for the first team. He's just an unreal player. I played a few good ones. Obviously, Tahith Chong. He's played for the first team a few times. He's just signed for Club Brugge.
I was going to say, was he at Werder Bremen? Was it on loan, and he's gone to Club Brugge now?
Yeah, he's just signed for Club Brugge. Yeah. And then Angel Gomez as well. He's another one. He's top player.
Yeah.
But there's been loads.
Another thing that some people maybe don't realise about yourself, George, you actually played for England under 17 and 18s, which must have been, you know, to get a call up for your country. I would think that would be special. Yeah,
it was special. I made my England debut in the Algarve in Portugal. I think we were playing Germany. But yeah, that was when I was a right winger, so I was still doing all right as a right winger.
Well, I was looking up last night, and a certain Kai Havertz played in that game.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he came off the bench for Germany with about 20 minutes to go.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and I looked at Holland. I think Justin Kluivert was playing for Holland.
Yeah. And then, funnily enough, Tahith Chong was playing in that game as well.
Right. And also, I saw you played some games in Qatar and Saudi Arabia. I think you actually scored in one of the Qatar games, didn't you?
Yeah, that was my first goal for England. I've scored against Qatar. It was Morgan Feeney, who we've just signed. He was in the same camp, so I was on that trip with him. So yeah, that was amazing scoring for England. It was a great feeling. I've still got the video.
Not too right.
But that video was funny because apparently, like the prince or the king or something like that of Qatar was watching as well. So it was a good game to score in.
Yeah. And I think there was one game you played against France, and there's quite some decent players for France. Malang Sarr, who Chelsea signed in the summer. Guendouzi of Arsenal, and Moussa Diaby. So it's not a bad trio of players to come up against.
Oh wow! Do you know what? I didn't even know any of this. So
I'm a proper.
This is good. Yeah.
Dan is the ultimate statter when it comes to football. I'll tell you. Even outdoes Mace. There you go.
Even our team though, our team, we've had some great players go on to do well. I think Mason Mount was in our team.
Yeah, Mason Mount.
Reece Nelson.
Yeah, Jaffet Tanganga at Spurs. I think he was in a couple of squads.
Yeah, he's still with the first team at Tottenham. He's doing well. Yeah, there's a few.
We'll move on now then, Jos, looking at when you signed your professional contract at Man United. So you signed that in January 18. That must have been quite a proud moment. You must have felt all that hard work, as you mentioned, over that last 10 years or so had really paid off.
Yeah, it is. It was, looking back, it's a very good achievement. because a lot of hard work did go into that. So I think like me and my family are so proud of that. Because to sign for Man United professionally, it's a big achievement, isn't it? It's every boy's dream. So
and when you think how many players a setup like Man United will look at as well, you know, it's incredible, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, I think even when you get picked as an 8-year-old, they look at over probably 200,000 players before you sign. So it's like you're one of 20 in a squad who gets picked out of 200,000 people. It's just like ridiculous, really. So to make it pro at Man United is just, the chances of it happening are just very slim, and you know, I put in a lot of hard work to get to that point, so I'm proud of it.
You played most of the games for the under-23s in that first season to pro, didn't you? What was it like playing in those matches? Because obviously there's some people who do sort of criticise them, don't they? Say it's not quite as intense as playing for the first team. How did you find it?
Yeah, they're good. They are good, but I think, I don't know. And I preferred when I went to Morecambe on loan, those sort of first league matches. I much preferred to playing in the under 23s. They are good, but I don't know. It's just not as good as playing league football. It's a different kind of buzz. There's no sort of fans or anything. You know, it's not very competitive, but still good.
How did the move to Morecambe come about? Was it Man United said we want to send you, or did you say to them, I want to play proper football?
Yeah, I sort of said to them I wanted to go on loan. I just knew that if I stayed in the 23s, the chances of me playing for the first team that season were very slim. So I thought the best thing for me to do is go out on loan and sort of prove myself to everyone else. And I'm glad I did that, because my contract with Man United ended at the end of that year. So if I hadn't have got them league games, I think it would have been a difficult period for me in the summer.
Yeah, and I mean, Carlisle have picked lads up before who have been through the under 23s and not really went out and played, and they're at 22, 23-year-old, and they maybe only played a dozen games. And whereas we've had kids come through the academy at Carlisle, likes of Brad Potts, who's at Preston, and Kyle Dempsey, who's at Gillingham, because they've played a couple of full seasons at Carlisle. They're in their mid-20s now, and they've played 300 games, you know. So going out and playing is definitely the thing to do, isn't it?
It's so important. I think players, young lads, just get lost in the 23s. You know, if you get to 21, 22, and you've got no league experience, there's going to be managers out there who would just think, oh, he's played no games, I'm not going to take the risk with him. So to get them games in is so important, I think.
Well, I remember, Dan, we had a lad from Man United about 6-7 years ago, Sam Byrne, do you remember him? And he came to us on loan. He'd never been anywhere else before that. And he just wasn't quite up to it yet, was he? Because I think he was about 22 by then, I think.
Yeah,
but he went back to
22.
Yeah, he went back to Man United. Then he went to Everton to sit in there under 23s. It was just a strange sort of move. Whereas, like I said, we've had other players like Tom Lawrence came to us and played for us, and he was fantastic, wasn't he, Dan?
Yeah,
in terms of quality.
The one who always stands out for me was James Chester.
Yeah,
we had James Chester on loan for Man United about 10 years ago, and he was levels above our team. But
was he? Yeah.
Again, he wanted to go out and get games, you know, so he could get, you know, noticed. And I think we were playing away at Tranmere, and he got pulled out because he got sold to Hull, I think it was. But
yeah,
that was the right move for him, because obviously he ended up playing for Wales eventually, and Stoke, and was it Leicester and a couple others?
I think it was Villa, wasn't it? He was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is important for young lads though, just go out there and prove themselves, because
definitely
you're out there then, aren't you? Rather than sitting in the 23s, you sort of get forgotten about a lot of the time. So it is important.
You're going to make more headlines playing in a proper game than you are a Premier League 2 game, aren't you?
Definitely, yeah.
At United, did you have much sort of interaction with the senior squad during your time there? Did you have much interaction with the managers? I'm guessing it was Mourinho and Solskjaer over the time you were playing.
Yeah, more with Solskjaer than with Mourinho. Mourinho was sort of set with his first team squad. He didn't really like anyone sort of intruding or whatnot. So a lot of the time with Mourinho, it'd just be like one or two players who would go and train with the first team. Whereas with Solskjaer, he liked to, mix it up a bit more. More players would go and train with the first team. So it's probably a little bit better with Solskjaer because you get that experience of going and training with him, and the training is just like very intense. It's just completely different to anything you'd experienced before. Like you can't go into that session feeling a bit tired or can't be bothered or whatnot, 'cause you just get found out. And then if you get found out and the players think, oh, he's not any good, then it's not good from there.
Obviously, you did the half season at Morecambe. You then got recalled and went out to Salford. What was the reasoning behind changing clubs? Because Morecambe, you were fairly settled, weren't you? I think you played just about every game, didn't you?
Yeah, and I was loving it at Morecambe. Played every week. I was quite happy. What happened was, in the January transfer window, I thought I was getting a permanent move to somewhere. So I think I said to Man United, yeah, I want you to recall me because I thought I had something better on the cards. And then that sort of fell through. So then I had like a couple of days just to try and sort something else out. And I didn't really want to stay in United's 23s for the rest of the season. So I thought I'd go back out on loan, and I was told Salford wanted me and they said I'd play. I'd already proven myself in the league, I was playing well, so I thought, yeah, why not go to Salford, but it just didn't work out.
I was going to say, I think you had a bit of a knock, didn't you, when you first started your loan there?
Yeah, I had a bit of an injury, but that's not the reason for me not playing, really. I had patella tendinitis, which is just sore from time to time, but nothing major. But I just sort of went there, and I was just never involved once. Strange, really, because I went there thinking, yeah, they need a right back and they need a future right back for the next couple of seasons or whatever. That's what I was told. And then I went and I just didn't even get a look in. Didn't get in a match day squad. So I don't know. It's strange.
Purely speaking, with my Carlisle head on, I'm quite glad that happened. But no, I'm being selfish for Carlisle here, But,
yeah.
But no, obviously.
Yeah, because if I'd gone and smashed it, I'll probably.
Yeah, they'd have kept
I'd be
on,
elsewhere.
But yeah. But no, obviously at the end of the end. Well, the season then got curtailed, as we know. I mean, March came and the world changed very, very quickly, and it must have been a strange time for a lot of players, including yourself. Obviously, out of contract at Man United, the Salford loan hadn't gone. How did you sort of feel at that time?
Yeah, it was a strange time. Because I never really knew what was going to happen in the summer. I knew I'd find something. It's just I didn't know what. So it was a little bit of a waiting game, and it was a bit difficult because some clubs just weren't in a position to sign anybody. So there wasn't obviously loads of interest.
There was some reported championship interest, wasn't there, though, George? I know the manager's hinted at that, hasn't he? And were they sort of clubs that were sort of wanting you to do what you were doing at Man United, I think, go into a development squad and bide your time? Was that the sort of feeling you were getting from those clubs, maybe? Yeah,
there was a lot of that, yeah. Because I could probably easily have gone to champ club and sat in the 23s for a bit and just be another sort of squad player and wait around for that opportunity to come up. But what happened was Chris Beach he spoke to me, he wanted to meet up with me, sort of discussed his plans for the season and stuff, and I just thought, why not? Because I want to play first team football, go and prove myself to everybody again. So doing that is much more important than playing in a random 23s team, I believe.
Yeah, to be honest, you've almost covered my next question there. I was going to ask you, so it's the why Carlisle, really. Did you know much about the club before you came? I mean, did you speak to anyone? Because I know, obviously, there is a connection to Carlisle at Man United at the moment in Dean Henderson. Did you speak to him or anyone about the club?
No, I didn't speak to Dean, but I'd played with Louis Alessandro at Morecambe. So when I knew there was interest, I rang him up and asked him what it's like and stuff. And he was really happy here. So yeah, no, I didn't really know a lot about Carlisle, to be honest with you, but I went and met the gaffer, and he was sort of, he sold me the dream, didn't he? So
I know,
I know more now.
When you signed, he recalled a tale of when he just took over and we played away at Morecambe, and I think after the game, he just sort of came up to you and said, "Oh, well played, lad. You played well there," sort of thing. And little things like that, I suppose, just sort of not plant a seed, but if that manager then comes after you later, you sort of think, "Oh yeah, that's him who spoke to me," And
yeah, I don't know if he did actually. I don't know when it was, but I think he went to watch a Morecambe game. I don't know if he was a part of someone's staff or whatever, but he watched it, and I think he thought I was one of the best players on the pitch, kind of thing. So I think that's where he'd seen me before. So that's why he wanted to bring me to Carlisle, because I think he thought I was one of the best players at Morecambe.
Happy days.
That game at Morecambe, when Carl played there, George. Morecambe's one of those games, Dan will tell you, we always take a big away from at least 1,000 plus, and I suppose it must be a bit frustrating you haven't had a chance to experience that big away following at games there, but can you remember the fans that day?
Yeah, I do actually, because there was loads of Carlisle fans in comparison to Morecambe. I mean,
there's normally more Carlisle fans than Morecambe fans when it's at Morecambe.
I think that was the case, yeah. I mean, I love Morecambe as a club, but the fan base isn't massive, is it? So yeah, it was good to see all the Carlisle fans that day, and it's just a shame that we've not really been able to see them in great numbers this season. We've had a little sniff of it with the 2,000 fans a couple of weeks ago, which was really good.
It's a shame because obviously I know you were injured in the end for it, but that Bolton game on Boxing Day, there would have been 10,000 plus in Brunton Park for that, because we were flying high. They hadn't played here for 30 plus years. They'd have brought a couple of thousand, and I think it would have shown a lot of the players just the potential that is at Carlisle, because when Carlisle do well, the fans do come out and they do get behind the team, and as you say, it's a shame it's not really been able to happen.
Yeah, I know, especially with the team doing so well. I think it'd be brilliant at Brunton Park if we could have all those fans in there, because I think a lot of people would want to come out and watch, especially in these sort of dark times. There's not a lot else to do really, so I think supporting Carlisle is the priority for most people.
You must feel a bit lucky though, in a sense that you're one of the few players out there who's had a chance to actually play in front of some fans of his new club, because there'll be some players out there in the league who have joined a club and halfway through a season and they've still not faced any fans.
I know, yeah. I mean, we've been lucky in Carlisle being in Tier 2 for a good period. And in those games, I think the fans definitely helped us. It's created a buzz around the stadium, which not a lot of people have sort of experienced yet. So yeah, it's been good.
Obviously, we've just mentioned that obviously we're flying at the moment, but the start of the season, I think it'd be fair to say that the team took a few weeks to click. New players, new squad, but once it did click, it really did click, didn't it?
Yeah, I think that was the difficult thing at the start of the season. Everyone's sort of still adapting to each other. Everyone's got a sort of new manager with Chris, so we weren't all clued into how he wanted us to play. Whereas now it's just natural. We all know our roles within the team, and obviously we've never played with each other before. So
I think at the end of the transfer window, John Mellish was technically our longest-serving player, and he'd only been at the club a year. So that just shows the turnover of players that we've had under Chris Beach.
Yeah, it's been a complete new change, hasn't it? So I think it was bound to take time for us to adapt. But once we have adapted, I think we've recruited some really good players, and it's showing on the pitch with our performances.
Yeah, I mean, the likes of Callum Guy's probably been the best midfielder in League Two for us. I mean, we're biased, but
yeah,
likes of Joe Riley. He didn't start the season, but he's come in and he looks as though he's played week in, week out. And we've got the lads up front, and I know we got beat last night, but more often than not, we look at our team now and we're just like, bloody hell, we've got a team here, and we've got options on the bench as well, which is the key in this division, we think.
Yeah, we've got a big squad now. We must have, I don't know, we've got loads of players.
I think there's 24 players plus sort of like young first-year pros as well, which is 4 or 5 of them. So
yeah, I think it's going to be important as well, because if we get COVID again and then like 5 or 6 players have to self-isolate, you need a big squad. But like you said, we've recruited really well. We've gone for sort of a young team with ambition, and Chris has obviously given us the freedom.
Young, hungry players. Whenever we sign someone, you look at them and what they've done, and you're like, there's quite a few players not got points to prove, but certainly want to show what they can do. Know, and I think that's shown in the performances so far. Yeah,
I think Joe's a key example of that. Because he was at Bradford, went on loan to Sheffield United, where it's not worked out for him, or he's been injured or whatnot. He's come to Carlisle with a point to prove, and he's adapted and done really well, and he's playing with a lot more confidence now. And before this year, he's not even played in centre mid before. He's always been a right back, so to adapt, he's done well.
That's a genuine surprise, because he looks so comfortable playing there, hasn't he, Dan? It's quite impressive, isn't it?
He's never played there before.
Oh, wow. I've got to ask you sort of about COVID generally, and just how weird has it been this season? Obviously, you've got all these protocols you have to follow and stuff like that, and obviously you mentioned the fact that there's no fans there. It must make it for quite an unusual experience, especially as a professional footballer. You're effectively carrying on your day-to-day job as much as you can and normally as you can. How's it been?
Yeah, it's been all right. We've just had to be very careful in and around the training ground. There's loads of precautionary measures in place, and we just sort of have to stick to the rules and try and avoid each other as much as possible. But all that's been fine, really. The only real difference is playing without the fans. It's just a little bit strange. It took a while of getting used to. Because you don't have the crowd there, it feels a bit like an under-23s game sometimes.
You can hear every shout the manager makes.
yeah, that's the main thing. When you're not playing well.
Get back.
Never mind Chris Speed, you can hear everything Paul Farman says as well, can't you? He's got a hell of a voice on him.
Oh, Paul don't shut up. It's funny, we say he's got football Tourette's, which is what he does.
Well, he does that funny little routine before the game, doesn't he? I've been watching that on the last few games. A little bit of superstition, I guess, but it's an unusual one. What is the manager like to play under? He seems like quite a good character as much as anything as well, and he just seems to have got everyone playing in the way he wants them to.
Yeah, it's been really good. He's obviously given me the freedom to go and play. He's trusted me to play, and everyone's sort of adapted to him. Everyone knows how he wants us to play, and now it's shown in our balls of intensity. high pressing, exciting football. You know, attacking full-backs, which is good for me. I wouldn't want to play in a manager that just wants me to sit back all the time. But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, got to ask you about your first goal against Morecambe. You know, there must have been a great feeling to see that one going, especially on your weaker foot as well.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird finish. It's like a picture of me when I connect with the ball, and it's like I've toe bunged it, and it doesn't look the most natural. I've just had a swing at it. But no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a great feeling. Obviously, getting my first goal. I think I was due one. And yeah, to score against Morecambe was pretty cool as well. But yeah, a great feeling to get off the mark.
It's quite funny because you scored your first goal against Morecambe, and then you were man of the match against Salford, which obviously were the two teams you were at last season. And that Salford game, this is not me kissing or anything, but you were absolutely quality that night. I think you sort of had a point to prove, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was one of my highlights of my season so far, beating Salford, if I'm completely honest. Yeah, I don't know. I was just so determined to do well that match. Like you said, I had a point to prove, so I was quite happy that we beat them.
The injury as well that you picked up in the Stevenage game, another game where you played really well and the whole team played really well.
Yeah.
It must be frustrating as well, though, because it's something that was completely avoidable, really, wasn't it? 4-0 up that late in the game and you're getting shoved off the pitch when the ball's already out of play.
I know, it's just such a shame, really. It was like the 92nd minute or something stupid like that, and I've took it past their striker or whatever, and he's just not even bothered to make a challenge. He's just shoved me onto the floor, and by the side of the pitch, it's like it goes from grass to like gravel, and I've just it's rock hard. So I've just landed on it, and obviously it's just snapped. I mean, it's such a freak incident. So yeah, unfortunate, but these things happen, don't they? Sometimes.
Just sort of tying this up now, really, in terms of talking about current Carlisle United. What's your hopes for the rest of the season? I mean, the obvious one to say is it's got to be promotion, hasn't it? That's got to be the aim now.
Yeah, definitely promotion. I think I'd be very disappointed if we don't get promoted this year with the team we've got. I have full confidence that, well, every game we go into, I feel like we're going to win. We don't fear anyone in this league. I think we can go out there and beat anybody, especially on a good day. I think we just play so different to most teams. So intense. Teams aren't used to it. So that's the aim this year anyway. But we've got to keep plucking away. There's no point getting carried away at this point now.
Say as well that your position's probably one of the few that people looked at and thought we haven't really got any cover there in terms of a player who specifically is a right back. Obviously Joe Riley has been in the past, but
yeah, the
way it's gone, Jack Armour and Aaron Hayden haven't done too bad, have they, while you've been out of the team?
I know, they've done really well. Especially Jack playing on his weaker side at right back. He's done a really good job, which I'm really pleased about, because it's not one of these situations where I'm out of the team, so I want the right back not to do well, so I'm straight back in. I'm like really focused on the team doing well this year. So if that means Jack having a worldie every week, I'm buzzing. I want the team to do well, so I'm happy for him.
Have to get yourself back playing right wing instead, maybe.
Yeah. Just knock JJ out of the team instead.
That seems to be a bit of a running theme, though. I mean, obviously, as fans, we follow you all on your various Instagrams and Twitter and that, and there does seem to be a genuine connection in this squad, doesn't there?
Oh yeah, definitely is. I think that's what's so good about our team. We're such a tight group. So everyone just wants to do well for each other. Everyone's ambitious and just wants to do well. I mean, Joe has probably become one of my best mates from playing at Carlisle alongside Callum, travelling in the car every single day. But yeah, the lads are fantastic. Everyone wants to do so well for each other.
I'm glad you mentioned ambitious there, because one of our questions was, what are your future ambitions now?
First and foremost, getting promoted with Carlisle.
Correct answer.
Yeah. I think that's my main ambition. My another ambition is to play as high up as I can in English football, but hopefully that's with Carlisle and getting promoted next year into League One. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm really happy at Carlisle, so I mean, I think the main thing in football is to try and be happy, because it is a tough business to be in, really. So if you're happy, it's good.
Right, we've just got some general quick questions for you now, pal.
Yep.
Team supported as a boy?
Man United.
There was going to be, wasn't it? Who was your favourite player growing up?
Ooh, Ronaldo, probably. Ronaldo's always been my favourite, especially from his Man United days.
Yeah. And biggest influence?
I'm not sure. I don't think I can answer that one. I don't really have one. Sorry to be boring.
No. I'm sure there's been several people along the way. Yeah. Best teammate at Man United? Not. We don't sort of necessarily mean in terms of skill, because obviously you've mentioned Mason Greenwood, but sort of teammates, mates, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, the first one's probably Joe Riley, who I'm good mates with now from Man United. A few good lads from United. I can remember Ethan Hamilton. I think he's at Peterborough now.
Peterborough, yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good lad. There's a few.
Yeah, and who's been your toughest opponent?
Just this season, or
this season and in general.
I thought our toughest opponent this year was Cheltenham. I obviously didn't play last night. Forest Green were a decent side, but I just thought Cheltenham were able to sort of match us physically, and they managed to play quite well. But so yeah, I'd probably say them. But there's not a lot in it.
I was going to say on a personal level, as in come up against on the pitch.
I'd probably say either Chelsea's youth team or Man City's youth team. I played against Sancho a few times playing against Man City, and they were very tough games playing against him. And also Hudson-Odoi for Chelsea. He's a very good player.
And the only thing we've got left to ask is, what do you sort of do in your spare time? We've seen a lot of your Twitch, Fortnite, Football Manager, various things.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my time is spent on Fortnite.
It was quite funny because Joe Riley went live on his Twitch with you the other week, and my lad's big into his Fortnite, so I said, Come here, Oliver. A couple of the players that we watched, and I'm sorry, lads, he only rated you about 6 out of 10. Eh?
Oh, did he? Oh, no.
His advice was you need to get more maths, which I believe's materials, and just to get your aim a little bit better, then you'll be all right.
Oh, really? But we're not professionals.
No, he's like a little genius on it. So
is he?
I play the odd game with him, and it scares me how good these kids are on it.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I know absolutely nothing about Fortnite, to be honest. I'm out on the deck here. If you want to ask me about Football Manager, I can tell all you want about that, because letting you in a little secret here, George, I'm the one who does the Cal United stats on Football Manager. So
really?
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 10, 12 years now.
What have you rated me then?
You actually are one of the best players in the squad. Now, the thing is, I've got to be...
Thank you.
Because the guys at Sight Games who put it together... They obviously check what you do, and you can't just make everybody brilliant, obviously. And they have certain parameters you have to put it within. But yeah, I remember when I was working at the club, I seem to remember Tom Tyler was not very happy with the rating I'd given him as a player for us. So yeah.
How do you get into doing that then?
Oh, years ago, I think they were just looking for somebody to do it, and they want someone who goes to most of the games, and back then I was going to pretty much every game. So
Okay.
easy
So
enough
do
to
they
do.
have someone for every single club?
Every professional club at least, I think, and then like non-league, they have someone who does the whole of the league, and they keep it fairly up to date at non-league levels. But yes, so,
I can't say I've played Football Manager, so I don't really know how it works. I just spend most of my time on Fortnite.
Well, there you go.
Spending your wages on V-Bucks.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm not that sad. I don't pay for anything on it.
I do, but I don't use it. I just get conned into it every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
There you go. George, thanks for a huge amount for giving up your time. Really do appreciate it, and hopefully see you back on the pitch soon. And with any luck, maybe we'll have a few fans there when we're celebrating lifting the League 2 title at the end of the season.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, George.
Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Tanner cutting inside, having a go and finding the bottom corner. An excellent strike for his first goal for his new club. And with the left peg as well of the right back, that surely seals all 3 points with Carlisle's third.
Just at the end of that, we'd just like to put a quick thanks out to my mate Stu and his mate Ads, who I believe is George's uncle, for being the middlemen in getting George on. And also a quick thank you to the media team at the club for giving us permission. Thanks again, everyone.
Yeah, really do appreciate everyone's helping get that sorted, and hopefully we'll get a few more of those lined up, won't we, Dan? Because George was a really good sport, and I think he shows he's got a really good head on his shoulders, doesn't he? And he's not one of these lads who's happy to sit there in under 23s. He wants to go out and play football, and it's fair to say he's played a bit of football this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, hopefully up the leagues with us.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back again with one of these episodes soon. Cheers, and up the Blues.
Up the Blues.
All are united, the team that's on the board.